meditation today is led by Marjorie Friedman, who will also be our speaker next week.
Thank you. Good morning. If I can ask you to just uncross your arms and your legs and sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms resting on your knees, turned upward so that they can receive energy. And if you're comfortable, please close your eyes and focus on your breath. Keep your lips gently together and inhale through your nose. And as you inhale, focus on the breath and feel it blow up your abdomen like a balloon. And as you exhale, feel the abdominal muscles contract. And inhale and imagine a shining blue-white light is filling your body. And inhale and see that light becoming brighter and brighter. And bring that light to your feet. And as your feet are filled with light, relax your feet. Move the light up through your ankles and your calves. Relax your lower legs. Bring the light to your knees and your thighs. Relax. And let the light flow through your hips and your abdomen. Let it fill your chest and bathe all your internal organs with this light of purity and relaxation. And fill your hands with light and your wrists and your forearms and your elbows. Relax your arms and let the light flow through your shoulders and relax. And bring the light through your neck. Relax. And let the light flow over your face and your scalp. And relax. And as you inhale, see that light bathing all the internal organs. And relax. Focus on the light with each breath. Relax. And slowly let awareness flow through your feet and your legs and up through your body and through your hands and your arms. And raise your right hand over your head and stretch that arm. Stretch it. Stretch it. And bring your left arm up. Stretch. Wiggle your fingers and relax. And wiggle your toes. And let awareness flow back through your body. And may you keep this relaxation through the rest of your day. Thank you.
Our speaker today is Werner Rusicka. The title of his talk is Thought Chains. Changing the old recording playing in your head that keeps running over and over again. Werner was born in Germany and grew up in Austria, where he studied philosophy, literature, and theater. He has excelled as a student, teacher, and spiritual guide. He studied yoga in India. He's lived in Buddhist monasteries in Sri Lanka and Thailand, where he taught yoga. Werner. Yeah.
At the end of my talk, we will do some exercises. So it's not just a theoretical talking, so we will practice at the end. I changed a little bit the title of this speech because it's more impressive. Obsessive thinking. It's much stronger than just thought change. In our culture, there is no mental culture. For example, meditation in Pali, which is a Buddhist language, it is called bhavana, which means mental culture. Our culture doesn't have any mental culture. What does it mean? That we check our minds, how it works, and that we can really be free from this obsessive thinking. We don't have any technique. So I will talk about this. The idea or the image I'm using is this old record player. We all know these old record players. We have to just turn it on and then put this heavy black records on it and put the needle on it. And how many times it happened that the needle went on in the same track over and over again. So what did we have to do? Lift it up and put it in another, how do you call this, track or rail? Track.
Groove.
What?
Groove.
Groove. Another groove. Yeah, okay, you understand, another groove. Hoping that this time it will go on and playing the whole play, the whole song or the whole piece of music. But when it happened to our mind, it's something similar. Suddenly the mind is caught up in repetitive thinking and thinking and thinking. And we don't know how to get out of it. It happened to me the first time I really noticed it clearly when I was in a Buddhist monastery. You are alone in a hut. You don't talk to anybody. There is no distraction. So you are alone with yourself. You're alone with your mind. And suddenly the mind gets caught up in this repetitive thinking. And because there's nothing which takes you out, and I didn't have the experience how to get out of this repetitive thinking for hours and hours. And you are fighting to get out. The more you fight, the more you are caught up. So this is the subject I will talk today about obsessive thinking. There is nobody safe of it, because we can be obsessed with certain subjects. There are people that they are obsessive with sex. Sex. When we were younger, no. Now we cool down. No? So we get obsessed with other things. You can get obsessed with everything, with your dog. You can be obsessed with money. Many people are obsessed with money. I know people that get up in the morning, the first thing is they go to the computer, the internet, how is the stock market doing? So that's also an obsessive thinking. Other people are obsessed with eating. They just eat 1 hour ago and again, eating. To which restaurant shall we go today? In the evening we go to this restaurant and so. It narrows our thinking really down to very few subjects. So that's a mild form of obsessive thinking. And generally, most people are not aware of it, that they have just a few complexes where they're always repeating. These are the old records. Yeah? You change one record and repeat it and then change it to the next. They have 4 or 5 records and they repeat. Because the most frequent is thinking about our past. Obviously, our future, we are grown-up people, so our future is getting less and less and less. So what do we have? Our past. Our past is getting longer and longer and longer. So we want to see our old movies again, our old records, and we want to repeat our old memories. That's another record. If you have a rich past, why not thinking about your past and having good memories? The bad one, well, just forget about them. So generally, the mind is well, in our age maybe, more time in the past, a little bit in the future, because there's not much future left. Only one thing is for sure, death is coming. And we are very seldom in the present moment. Why? Because what I said at the beginning, the mind is jumping around. We don't have any mind control. We are not even conscious where the mind is going or wandering around now. It needs training, and it needs certain techniques to hold the mind in the present moment. So that's just for an introduction. Now I'm talking about two kinds of obsessive thinking. One obsessive thinking is positive, and the other one is negative. Let's start with the positive part, which is much shorter. What are you laughing? So I will give you two examples, because I'm from German descent, so I give you two examples from Germany. Goethe and Nietzsche. When Goethe was about 18 years old, he fell in love with the girlfriend of his friend. So it was for him a hopeless love. So he left the couple and shut himself up in a room, and he had two options: suicide or write. But he was writing. And what was he writing? About this unhappy love. And in 2 weeks he wrote this famous novel, The Suffering of the Young Werther. So I put it as an example. Two options: suicide or a creative act. So he, instead of suiciding himself, he used this deep sadness and emotional turmoil to create something. And a very important point is, he closed himself up for 2 weeks in a room, and he was just entering in this story. It's nearly autobiographic. And he became immediately famous with this Werther throughout Europe. The young people, they were dressing like Werther, and people even following it, suiciding themselves. But Goethe saved himself. So then the other example, Nietzsche. Nietzsche was really not very happy or fortunate with the women, but he once fell in love with Lou Salome, a very famous woman, interesting woman. She was 17 years younger than he was. He was not really attractive as a man. So, again, an unhappy love affair. And he went alone she left with his best friend. So they left Nietzsche alone. So he lost the woman, he lost his best friend. He went to Italy, and he was again in the same situation. Suicide or writing. And he tried to suicide himself with opium. It was legal at this time. And then he said, well, I still could write something before I get really bad. And what did he do? He wrote the second part of Zarathustra. And what was it? It was like a purification. He got rid of this loneliness, depression, and he channeled this depression into a creative act, writing, and he saved himself. So these are two examples. Not everybody is an artist, but if you fall into a deep depression, don't get stuck in it. Do something. Those who are painters or writers or whatever artists, use it. The deeper the depression, the more profound will be what you are writing, what you are painting. Because an artist needs depth, but not this superficial painting, flowers and so. Really deep down. The other example is Van Gogh. No? When he was really at the point of suicide, finally suicide, he managed it. he looked at these paintings. These are people, there was an inner turmoil, but they had a channel and they could channel this depression and this suffering. So that was the positive part of obsessive thinking. And now we come, don't laugh now, we come to the second part, negative part, which is more frequent, because not everybody is an artist. And now, I will give you an example, because it's much easier to understand. You can apply it to different subjects, let's say jealousy, resentment, illness, and whatever. But the point is that our mind, our thinking narrows down more and more as the record player, and we are just the mind is moving in one circuit of salt chains. There comes the case. A woman in her 30s was abandoned by her husband. The husband ran away with a younger woman, so she got divorced, and obviously she fell in a deep depression. And she did not go out anymore. She stood in her house and was always thinking, this guy, I sacrificed my youth for this man, and now he ran away with another woman. You know this kind of thinking. And because she didn't get out anymore, she was caught up in this thinking. And she didn't care about how she looked. She didn't comb her hair anymore. And she didn't even cook for herself. She went out, bought the food and so. And this kind of depression sucked up all her energy. And when you don't have any energy, there is no joy to live anymore. She said, well, for whom should I cook? For whom should I live? So she went deep down in the depression. It was, again, at this point of suiciding, but she went to a psychiatrist. And psychiatrist took her into a group therapy, which is very important, because when we are in this kind of thinking, depression, one thinks, I'm the only person in the whole world to whom this happened. But when you are in a group, you listen. My husband did the same thing. He went away also. So you're not alone. So in German it's an expression, geteiltes Leid ist halbes Leid. That means a shared suffering is just half of the suffering. So when you are in a group and everybody tells you a similar story, you don't feel so alone. So that's very good. To get out and share your problem with other people, and there you get a certain distance, objectivity, and you don't take it so personally anymore, because it's a general thing that you lose your loved one and then you fall in a deep depression, because you never trained to be really happy alone. So that was one part of the therapy. The second part was the psychiatrist knew something about Buddhist meditation, what's called satipatthana attention, the four fundaments of attention, and the vipassana. But in the United States, a psychiatrist cannot dare to say now he is applying Buddhist meditation, because I'm a Christian, how could you treat me with Buddhist meditation? Forget it. So you just keep quiet. But the problem with this obsessive thinking is the mind runs by itself. It rushes by itself. And you are hopeless. You are at the mercy of this repetitive thinking. Because as I said, without any techniques, without any consciousness, it's very difficult to stop it. So this psychiatrist said, okay, lady, there's a clock at the wall. And you watch at the second hand of the seconds, no, and concentrate. So the woman was sitting there looking at the hand. After 20 seconds, she was back. in the obsessive thinking. And the psychiatrist said, go on, try. So she was all going trying until she reached the 30 seconds to hold the mind just on the movement of the second hand. And over the years, over the days and weeks, she could manage to hold your mind for 1 minute. You think that's little, but check your own mind. Hold your mind just for 1 minute on one subject. Without training, it's impossible. And so she managed to be in the present moment, because the watch, the clock is in the present moment. The present moment, present moment, present moment. And so she forgot about the past and was in the present moment. So that gave her some joy that finally she could a little bit manage her mind. It was not so at the mercy of her mind. So the psychiatrist said, what did you enjoy before your husband left you? Oh, I enjoyed cooking. So why don't you cook now? Oh, no, for me alone. Why? So the psychiatrist said, well, cook for me. Make a cake. Make a cake. And the lady said, well, okay, because you're a nice doctor, we'll make you a cake. So she went into the kitchen. But the doctor said, but don't make just a cake. Be conscious about what your hands are doing. Hold your mind in the present moment in what you are doing, what's called the task at hand. And don't allow your mind to slip away. Okay, that gave you a new task, and she was working there. And she could, because she had already the training with the club, she could hold her mind in what she was doing, and that kept her mind in the present moment. Okay, the cake was finished, and both enjoyed the cake, and the psychiatrist said, good cake, good cake. So that gave her a boost of vitality again, and a little bit of joy. And then finally he said, well, you get out, don't stay at home alone, and get out and do some social work, get involved in something, so you forget about your husband. So that was a case study. Just to analyze these two exercises. Holding the mind in the present moment so you don't think about past things. The past is gone. We cannot change it anymore. And life is happening in the present moment. That was quite a crude exercise, following the second hand. But at least she could, there was this movement, and the eyes can follow the movement. And that kept her in the present moment, and she got this feeling. What does it feel to be in the present moment? And the other thing is just a variation of the same exercise, to making the cake, the task at hand. Obviously, when you break the egg, that's the present moment. And if you're really in the breaking of the egg, mixing the flour with the water, that's the present moment. So for this time, she forgot about her past and was in the present moment. So this is an exercise, a Buddhist exercise. Staying in the present moment. You can do it at home. Checking where the mind is going, wandering around while you're drinking your coffee. You drink your coffee, the mind is somewhere else. Why are you drinking your coffee? The mind should be in the tongue. Ooh, good coffee. So you taste it. But what's the point? You buy your coffee and you don't enjoy it because the mind is somewhere else. So that's an exercise everybody can do. It doesn't take away any time, because when you walk, you are in your steps. When you sit down, you feel your body, how it sits. So bringing the mind always back to what you're doing in the present moment. Okay, now let's go to another situation which is more grave. Let's say terminal illness. Obviously, at the moment, the doctor says, you have cancer. It changes your outlook. You felt always healthy, and suddenly the doctor said you have cancer. Maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year or less. So obviously that's like taking you out of the ordinary thinking, and it limits your thinking about cancer. And it limits your activity, going to the doctor, going to the diagnosis. And so what you did before, let's say maybe playing tennis and so forget it, now it's just your sickness. And then there are these cases. People, when they get sick, they don't want their friends see them getting in this sick state. So they close themselves up and they just live alone then. So they don't want to be a burden for other people. And that's the worst thing what we can do. Because then the obsessive thinking becomes stronger and stronger. It's like a spiral. You go deeper and deeper down in your depression. Because there's nothing which takes you out and you are unable, because of lack of mind training, to get out of it. Obviously, what should we do? But some people are doing, or want to do something, distraction. That's a very crude way of forgetting about your sickness. Getting out, with friends out, so you don't have to think about your terminal illness, and at least during the last weeks. And well, the problem is then you go to a concert, and there you're sitting, and the music is going on and on, because it doesn't need much mind to follow the music base. You just get like a shower of sound. So in this moment, the mind falls back in this repetitive thinking and obsessive thinking. What we need sometimes is stronger stimulus which hold us out. Let's say if you can do some body exercises which are much stronger. Let's say yoga. When you feel your arm there, at least the mind is here. And for a moment you forget about your thickness. That would be one thing. But let's say you use distraction to get away from this repetitive thinking. Then you come home. Obviously the worst thing is living alone, because who takes you out of this obsessive thing? You go home. Another option what people are doing is watching TV. So you watch TV so you don't have to think about your sickness. But you cannot always watch TV, because once you have to turn it off or go to bed. And there the problem starts. You're laying in the bed and the mind goes on. And you cannot sleep, and you cannot sleep. If you don't know how to get out of it. And there's hope, but obviously it needs training. You cannot do it just like this. It's called the division between the thinker and the observer. It's called also the witness or the watcher. What is it? We divide ourselves into, what is the mind? We try to get a distance to this obsessive thinking, and the observer is stepping back and looking how the mind is going on, like the old record player. So we create a distance and we say, the mind is going on, that's not me. I am detached from it and I can observe it. At the moment you get to this distance, you can step away. There you live. As long as you are caught up in the thinking and you identify with this thinking, that's me suffering, I have this cancer, I have this sickness. You are identifying with the sickness. For example, the Buddha, he was 80 years old, which was unusual at this time, because in India people died at 35. So he was 80 years old. And what did he say? My whole body hurts. He was walking still from one village to the other, teaching. When I walk, my whole body hurts like an old cart. But when I sit down, and he was meditating every morning, and even in the afternoon, when I sit down, I drop the body. And the body does not hurt me anymore. So he reached this division between mind and body. That is, the body should not affect my mind. I separate from the body. Obviously, an old body hurts here and here. It's inevitable. But when he sat down, his mind was free. His mind was not affected by the aging body. And that's what we could do, obviously with some training. Meditation, obviously, is the best medicine for this. Relaxing, what we did at the beginning, obviously it needs more time to get really awake of your body. The body doesn't move. Body completely relaxes. And you get the feeling, I don't have any body. And then you can just think in the mind. And then at least for these moments meditate, you are free from the ailment of the body. Because most of our sufferings are body sufferings. Obviously, these bodily sufferings affect the mind also, if you allow it. But as I gave you this example of Buddha, cut it. That's the problem of the body. It's not affecting my mind. As I said, it needs training, but it can be achieved. So, how much time do we have?
12.
You just forgot?
Minutes.
Huh?
About 12 minutes before questions. 12.
12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Okay. You understand now what is this obsessive thinking? I gave you a very severe case, let's say terminal illness. But there's one point which is very important. If you really know that your sickness is terminal, we have to deal with death. And we should not run away, because people don't like talking about death. They think when I talk about death, that's what comes. Death is inside. We carry death inside. We can never run away from death. Death is not approaching. Death is not coming. It's waiting inside. So, instead of running away from the idea that we are all mortal, we should face it. And once you have faced it, it's over. Then you are prepared to die any moment. You are prepared. And obviously it needs some analysis about what life is. We are born to die. And in Buddhism it says, if you don't want to die, avoid being born. Well, Buddhism refers to being reborn, obviously, because now we are here. No? We have to claim our parents. So, facing death. And Buddhism has quite a lot of exercises for this. I was in one of these Buddhist monasteries, and the teacher's room, there were behind glass dead monks. They were living for 30, 40 years in the monastery, and they got dead, they died, and then they put them as mummies there. And then the young monks are sitting in front of this dead monk, and saying, well, I will finish like this monk. And there was in the meditation room on the wall, there was a skeleton. And one monk said to me, do you know who this person was before? How did I know? It was a beauty queen of this place. And she had an accident, and in Buddhist countries, they gave this dead body to the monastery. So they put it there, and you can see, oh, it's not so beautiful anymore as she was. It's alive. So these teachings force you to face death. So you look at the dead body, because in our culture, as quick as possible, away, away, out of sight, out of sight. That's death, does not exist, because you cannot see it. So once you face it, you apply it to yourself and say, I am also mortal. I will end up like this. But what's the problem? I enjoyed my life, and life can go endlessly, because most of our lives is just repetitive. Going to the open circuit every morning is repetitive. No. So say I enjoy it, let's say 10 times, and if tomorrow I die, well, I enjoyed it 10 times. That's enough. I remember my sister had cancer, and she got this chemical treatment, and losing her hairs, and she was so tired. She was working 1 hour in the garden, and she was so tired, she was sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. And she said to me, one more chemical treatment. If it doesn't work, I forget about it. Fortunately, it worked. But she said, if it doesn't work, I just give up. She's now 75, and she said, I lived a rich life. Oh, she had a lot of lovers and so. What else can you have? No. So she enjoyed life, and at a certain point, you have to say, enough is enough. If I die next week, doesn't matter. I enjoy life. Fortunately, she got cured, and now she goes on traveling and doing the same thing what she always did. So this important thing is facing our mortality, especially those who know that they will die. Face your mortality. And how? Obviously, meditation is the best thing, because meditation is a kind of dying. If you sit in meditation and you go deeper into your mind, all you know about yourself, that's me, that I'm a doctor, I had so many titles, and so forget it. You go sink so deep into yourself that it peels all off. And at the end, you are in an imageless awareness. And it needs just a click, and you can die. It's like fading out from consciousness, and we don't know what happened after the death. Well, some people know they will go to heaven, but I'm not so sure about it. I don't even care about it. But the thing is, meditation is a kind of dying consciously. I don't know if you know, but I just give you a last anecdote. Maybe you know about the fourth way, Gurdjieff and Uspensky, the Russian mathematician. He was sick at the end of his life, and the doctor said, well, the doctors always say that, stay in bed. But Uspensky said, why should I stay in bed? I want to die consciously. So there were some helpers, and he was hanging on their shoulders, and he was walking. And he knew he would die in the next moment. And he was walking up and down and observing the process of dying. And keep up. So, these people, they are not afraid of dying, they're not of death. They use death as the ultimate and the last experience we can have. Dying consciously or without fear. Okay, we still have question time,
You
no?
can have questions, yes.
Yeah. So I leave the 5 minutes for you.
No, we have 10 minutes or more for them.
Wait, I promised you the exercises. Well, wait.
Okay, good.
Okay. So, it's an exercise to concentrate your mind. Well, there are many other exercises, but we do 2 or 3. Lift your arm quickly with a sharp inhalation, and then okay. What's the point of this exercise? Producing a strong vibration in the head that cuts your thinking. The stronger it is, you cannot think for at least for a couple of seconds. You cannot think. So with this kind of exercises, humming, for example, you relax the tension in the brain. The repetitive thinking or obsessive thinking makes your head like this. There's a strong tension because it's going on. There's never any relaxation. So we have to relax the brain with this kind of humming. In other speeches, I showed you some similar exercises. One of the strongest is something similar. Also, you have problems with the neck or some blood pressure, don't do it. We shake the head with the humming. It's a good exercise before going to bed, because you carry all the tension of the day in your mind, and how to get out, how to relax the mind. So you just shake the mind as we did now, like this. And immediately the mind relaxes and you get this nice feeling of sleepiness. The other good thing about getting rid of this tension, even in the skull and in the brain, is acupressure. So let's do this with your 4 fingers on top, and with the thumbs press your temples, press and circle, press and circle, and then move to the next spot, all around the temples, and press, and feel that it penetrates even into the brain. And then, it's the last one, no? Fine. The face holds our voice. So, relaxing the face muscles are so essential, so essential. So you produce the humming sound and you clap your face. And then the whole head, the whole skull. Okay. Now look at the point between the eyebrows. Erase any tension or expression in your face. Empty face. And this empty face relaxes the brain. Empty skull. Okay. So we bring a new element in where the mind can concentrate on. Let's say the nice feeling, relaxed face, relaxed brain, and we forget about our possessive thinking. Okay.
So raise your hand and someone will bring you a mic if you have any questions for our speakers.
Thank you so much. You're always a welcome person here. I truly believe we have a serious issue about talking about death. And for many of us, I mean, I think I'm 29, but I don't think I am anymore. I'm 39. And of course, the truth of the matter is, I'll be 80 in a couple of weeks. So I know there isn't much left. Whenever I try to talk about it, no one wants to talk about death. And it is the only one thing that will happen to all of us. Could you speak more on that?
But not today, no? It would be a long speech. We'll be next time.
Here's another one.
Hi, more of an observation, I guess, than a question, but I was curious if you ran into this when you came here. I've been practicing Buddhism for a long time in the States, and it wasn't until I got here that I noticed what a good place this is to wake up. I think in the States, our lives are so insulated. We close out nature, we live inside a closed house. The roads are all smooth, so you never have to feel a bump. And the first week you come, you're kind of like, oh my God, everything is, oh, you know, and bugs, oh yeah, bugs. But now that I've been here about 3 weeks, I noticed that the uneven pavement, the strong smells, the sounds, you're in with nature all the time. I don't have to work hard at finding a time to practice. Every moment you have to be aware always. So my notice is Mexico is a very good place to wake up. And I was wondering if you noticed that too after years of practicing.
Tim.
Sometime in my 20s, I became a disciple of the school of Kurt Vonnegut. You know, Life is Absurd. And I still have that.
Kierkegaard.
Kurt Vonnegut. He was an American author who wrote about the absurdity of life.
Okay.
Had something to do with his experience in Germany during the Second World War, seeing a city bombed to smithereens. So I still have that in me. Occasionally, to get away from the moment, if you will, my brain goes to somewhere up there and I look down on the world. Is that a cop-out from life? Is that an escape from life? And dishonest?
Well, if you do it consciously and you learn something through it, getting away, looking at life, especially your life, from a higher point of view, consciously, that's not an escape. But generally what people are doing, they run away from themselves. They run away from themselves. That's escape, because they don't learn anything.
Another question?
Yes, you talk about these divisions, or the division between the self and the observer. How many divisions can you make? Because it may be the case that you as an observer may become also an obsessive observer of yourself. And you may have to need another division to observe how you observe yourself.
Well, it sounds complicated. But in other occasions, I talked about from the point of view of an actor. As an actor, there is the character, and there it's me, like a person. And I don't have any problem with getting into the character, and I know completely that I am not the character. I can never be. So you switch forward and back. Now that's me, now that's the character. And applying it to the thinker and the observer, that's the same thing. With practice, it becomes so natural. You step back and look into your mind, how the mind is running. If you want more divisions, well, you can divide yourself and many other things. There is a joke in modern Nasrani, he went to a psychiatrist and said, "Doctor, can you divide my personality?" And the doctor said, "Why do you want to divide yourself?" "Because I feel so lonely."
Werner, could you give an example, maybe a positive kind of obsession to have, something to be constructive?
Well, I gave you the two examples, Nietzsche and Goethe at the beginning.
No, but I mean a constant feedback within yourself.
About what? What?
Feedback with yourself.
I don't get the question.
Maybe a mantra,
Yeah, that's good.
a belief.
Yeah, like he's saying, like a mantra or something like that, that focuses your mind on a limited number of things, and you create.
Yeah. Well, I didn't talk about the mantras because I'm not convinced about the effectiveness of mantra. What is the mantra? Oh, we're using the sound. So you don't have to think about any mantra, it's just you concentrate on. It's a concentration object. It can be visual, so you look at your thumb or you look at the flower, that's visual concentration. Or you concentrate on an auditive, monotonous sound. A good exercise is using the tick-tack of a clock. So you concentrate it on the running water. Some people have fountains in their gardens, and you listen to the sound of the falling off for the running water. If you can use a mantra, you can use a positive mantra. You know the Coué, this French using suggestions that I'm getting better every day and day. I'm getting better every day and day. But the problem is if you don't get better. So anyway, some people are talking to themselves. No? I have to go to the bank. I have to go to the bank. I have to use this. But don't think about anything else. Just go into the bank.
I would like to respond on the question I asked.
You have to wait for the mic.
I would like to respond on the question you had about the mantra. I use a lot of humming, but I also use some words instead of a mantra. It's the same thing. So every morning I get up, I go into meditation, and I use the words prosperity, happiness, success, wisdom, and I just let them flow into my mind, and it gives me a good feeling. If I would say every morning I am rich, I would be lying to myself. So my mind wouldn't accept it. So I say prosperity, happiness, because then I'm not lying. Even today, if I'm not happy, I cannot say I'm happy, because then I would be lying to myself. But if you say happiness, then your mind is attracting the happiness, and you will get happy. So these words I use as kind of a mantra every morning and every evening, and I use them as a focus. So when I go to bed, I see these words in blue or gold, and I just let them pass my mind, like clouds. And it helps me to fall asleep or to get other negative stuff out of my head. So that's just a suggestion.
Well, about this, I would say positive thinking, about I'm happy and love and so. Be careful with this. Buddhism does not use this, they have the four sublime states, loving kindness and peace. But the force of the three, well, the first is loving kindness, then compassion, and then sympathetic joy. And the force is equanimity. That's very important. It's superior of the other three. Equanimity. Not good, not bad. So you keep a neutral standpoint which keeps your objective. You don't write as a just something. So in deep meditation, you're not judging anything. You don't want to achieve anything. You just being. And being is neutral. Being is not negatively positive, not prosperity, not poverty. It's neutral. Just being.
Very good place for us to conclude. We never disappointed. Yeah, next you'll come and talk to us more about that. Our speaker next week is Marjorie Friedman. Her topic is, fading memories. A conversation with an itinerant, so we better hurry up. So remember to turn on your cell phones again and pick up your coffee cups and stack the chairs by color and style. It looks like they're nearly all the same color and style. So we'll hope to see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.